The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited.
All right, we should be there now. Let me just do a quick check. All right, shalom, family. Shalom, shalom. Let me just make sure everything is good before we get started. And once you all confirm, we'll get right into it. Let me first confirm. Let me see what we got here. All right, I know for the first few seconds I'm going to see no sound, but I'm going to give it a minute or so. Things should be updated, and you all should hear me nice and clearly. Things should be good now. Okay, all praise to the Most High. Wonderful. All right, shalom, shalom to you all. I know that for many of you, this may be a pleasant surprise, but today I am filling in for Elder Rawchaa, and what we're going to be doing today, just to give you a brief overview of today's Patreon segment. For those who are in the Hebrew and Bible Academy, we promised that we would do a Q&A segment through today's Patreon, so that's exactly what we're doing today. Before we do so, I just want to make a few quick announcements pertaining to the Hebrew and Bible Academy, but I'll give a few minutes for those to, for all of you to come on in. Someone says it's very low. All right, someone says it's low. All right, let me make a few adjustments here and see if it's better. All right, I'm going to make all my adjustments now before getting started. Let me make all the adjustments now. Okay, some people are saying it's good on their end. So if it's good on some people's end, but others it's still low, for those who have low volume, you may have to make the adjustments on your end. All right, some people are saying it's loud and clear. So again, if it's loud and clear for some people, but low for others, I'm going to ask now, at least for now, that those who have low volume make some adjustments to see if you can get if the volume can become a little bit better on your end. All right. Without further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to try to stick in for at least an hour. Okay, in fact, not at least an hour. We want to try to stay in for an hour max. But we do want to try to make sure we answer as many questions as possible. Again, this is an extension of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. For in this past week, which was week number 3, you know that we covered the promised seed. And in the promised seed, we went through the origin of the promises of Abraham, how that original Abraham was passed down to his son Isaac. From Isaac, it was passed down to Jacob. From Jacob down to the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And we showed you how that played out under the New Testament, under the new covenant. How through Christ, it is through Christ that we receive those covenants, that we receive that covenant, and that we receive the blessings that come with the covenant. Okay? We receive that through Christ. Right? But going back to that academy and how today is a continuation of the academy, again, we promised those who were within that lesson, based on the fact that we did not have enough time to answer your questions there, we promised that we would answer your questions today. So again, that's what we're doing today. But before we do so, I first and foremost would like to make an announcement concerning the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Yes, we are still accepting enrollments. We are going into week number 4, so we are officially coming to a close of the first month, right? So if you're still interested in the Hebrew and Bible Academy, you can go to historytimes.org and all of the information you need there. Tomorrow's lesson, well, not tomorrow, but this week's lesson, which will be this Sunday, will be Who is Edom? Who is Edom? We're going to be dealing with the origin of Esau, right? How he came to be. We're going to go into the process by which the blessing and the promise was initially blessed or bestowed upon Esau, eventually ended up in the hands of Jacob. From there, we're going to show you how that caused a rift, a generation between Esau and Jacob. Also, we're going to delve into the history of how Esau became a nation known as the Edomites. We're going to delve into that as well. And above all, we're going to show you the prominent role that Esau plays in prophecy. I know in many places you may go when it comes to history, when it comes to commentary pertaining to Esau, they will usually state that Esau no longer exists, or that Esau disappeared from the face of history during a particular time period. Okay, it may differ according to whatever source you go to, but nonetheless, in all of those sources, one thing they agree to is the fact, or the idea at least, it's not a fact. We're going to prove it's not a fact, but they all subscribe for the most part to the idea that Esau or Edom disappeared from the face of the earth. We're going to see if that's so according to biblical history as well as biblical prophecy. And the beautiful thing about this lesson, we're going to cover it, is that not only will we cover Esau, for the first time in the Hebrew and Bible Academy, we're going to cover Esau alongside Ishmael. So not only will it be of who is Edom, his history, his origin, how he became a nation, prophecies pertaining to him, we're also going to deal with the history and origin of the Ishmaelites and show you the connection between Esau and Ishmael. What is their? Well, both have a problem with Jacob. And we're going to expound upon that problem in this upcoming week of the Academy, which will be this Sunday. Again, if you're interested in the Hebrew and Bible Academy, please go to historytimes.org. Now, before I continue, some people are saying that the sound is going in and out. All right, if that's so, please let me know now so that I can make all the necessary adjustments. All right, let me know if the sound is going in and out, and if so, I'll make all the adjustments I can before we switch over to the other side, which will be Patreon. Also, we're going to have the blog talk going. I'm going to try my best to manage both. Someone says choppy audio. So let me make a quick adjustment. One moment. It keeps popping. All right, one moment. 1 second. All right, so let me get rid of this microphone. Okay. Let me ask, is this better for those who said it was choppy? Some people were saying it's popping. Some people were saying it was choppy. It was going in and out. Before I continue, because we're about to switch over, before I continue, right, let me make sure that all is well. All right. Is this better? All right. Better? Okay, great. Great. Someone said louder also. Okay, so I'll just stick with this microphone. Hopefully, again, I'm going to try to manage both the Patreon as well as the blog talk at the same time. So I have to have certain equipment which allows for that to take place. The initial microphone didn't work, but we still have to deal with the equipment so that I can hear for those who may call into blog talk. All right. So we're going to make the transition. Before we make the transition, I thought that before we got into it on the Patreon side, that I would start off with answering a question that we tend to get pretty often in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Either that, or I'll take one of your questions here from the Academy, and we'll use that to kind of springboard into Patreon. Okay? Someone says, is Mystery Babylon NEOM? I'm assuming that's an acronym. The smart city being built in Saudi Arabia. No, that's not Mystery Babylon. That's not Mystery Babylon. Okay? Mystery Babylon is identified in Scripture as the Roman Empire. Okay? The Roman Empire. And from the Roman Empire, you have an extension, which is what we call today America. Okay? But no, Saudi Arabia, or the city in Saudi Arabia, Neom, is not Mystery Babylon. Okay? Let me go to that very quickly. Revelation 17 to show what the Bible tells us about Mystery Babylon. Let's open up the Bible. All right, we should be good now. Okay. So again, We're getting the Bible straight, and from here, we're going to jump over into Patreon. All right, so we're in Revelation chapter 17. Revelation 17, I'm going to go there very quickly, where it speaks about Mystery Babylon. Before we go there, let's first go to the book of Revelation chapter 13, and we're going to start at verse number 1. And it says here, "And I stood up upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the earth." Now we know this beast, according to the book of Daniel chapter 7, verse number 17, is a kingdom. Daniel 7 and 17 tells us that the beast, in specific, the four beasts, which are identified or prophesied in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter, are four beasts. So let's get that established first. Okay? Daniel chapter 7, verse number 17. Daniel 7 and 17 says, "These great beasts, which are four kings." By four kings, meaning four kingdoms. I'm going to show you that in a moment. So these great beasts, when it says these great beasts, speaking of the four beasts which are prophesied earlier in the chapter, or the four beasts that are aforementioned earlier in the chapter, starting with Babylon, from Babylon to Medo-Persia, from Medo-Persia to Greece, and from Greece to Rome. Those are the four beasts. And we're told in Daniel 7 and 17 that these four beasts are symbolic of four kings, or, as we're going to show, when we jump down a few verses, four kingdoms. Now we're going to show you which of these kingdoms relate to Mystery Babylon. And I'm showing you this because this is very key when we're talking about identifying things biblically, as far as biblical prophecy. There's going to be many things that are going to come up, many stories, many articles that are going to come up, many inventions that are going to come up as this smart city that you're referring to, and people are going to try to fit them in scripture or try to figure out where they fit in the Bible. But one thing we must remember is that the Bible, the Bible, as far as, let's deal first with the understanding of Mystery Babylon. The Bible have already established exactly who and what that is. So we don't necessarily have to take external information or external new things that have come up and try to plug them into the Bible according to what may be said about them, according to the articles, according to what people may say conspiratorially, or according to conspiracy theories, or whatever the case may be. We don't have to try to superimpose that on the Bible. The Bible have already explained itself, and the kingdoms of the Bible have already been explained and put in place for us to understand in these last days. Okay? So now let's explain it. So these great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. Now let's show that these four kings are in reference to kingdoms. Jumping down to verse number 23. 23 says, "Thus he said, the fourth beast," remember, these great beasts are four kings. Now it's saying, "Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth." The fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth. So it's by this that we understand that these four beasts are four kingdoms. So again, the question is, where does Mystery Babylon fit within these four kingdoms? Okay? Where does Mystery Babylon fit within these four kingdoms. Let's go back to the book of Revelation 13 where we left off. Revelation 13 and verse 1 says, "And I stood up upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea." So what is the beast? Well, according to what we just read in Daniel 7, the beast is a kingdom. The beast is an empire. It says, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his head 10 crowns. Now, let's hold this, and we're going to go back to Daniel 7. Because the attributes that are being applied to this beast in Revelation 13 are the same attributes applied to the beast in Daniel 7. So let's go back to Daniel 7 very quickly. And let's see what beast is identified as having 7 heads and 10 horns. Going back to the book of Daniel chapter 7, we're going to read in verse number 7 where it says, "After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast," as we read in the 23rd verse. The 4th beast represents the 4th kingdom, which shall arise out of the earth. So we're talking about the same exact kingdom. "So after this, I beheld in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts," meaning it was different from all the beasts that were before it. Now, when we go back to Revelation 13, we're going to show you why this beast was different or diverse from all of the beasts that came before it. Now, check this out. Key point. It had 10 horns. I considered the horns. Now, here's the key point again. It had 10 horns. Let me pull it up. It had 10 horns. Now we're going to jump down to verse number 23 again. We're still in Daniel 7. Right? Verse number 23. "Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and tread it down, and break it in pieces." Verse 24, again, key verse. "And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise." Right? So notice, these are the attributes that are being used to describe this 4th kingdom. Right? So let's go back to Revelation 13. Revelation 13 says, in verse number 1, "I stood up upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the earth, having 7 heads and 10 horns." So we know that this is specifically speaking of the 4th beast. That's what we just read in Daniel 7, right? "And upon his head, his horns, 10 crowns. Now, why is it 10 crowns upon his heads? Well, we just read in Daniel 7 and 23 that those 10 horns represent 10 kings or 10 kingdoms. So that's why there are crowns upon these 10 horns. Okay, they represent authority, rulership, right? "Upon his heads are the names of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power." So, earlier we read that this beast was diverse from all the others. Why? Well, this beast was a combination of all of the beasts that came before it. All of the other beasts had their own attributes which made them unique, one from another. This beast, on the other hand, was a combination of all of the beasts put together. So, for example, Babylon was seen as a lion with eagle's wings, right? Medo-Persia was seen as a bear standing up on 2 feet, but one leg raised up higher than the other. Right? That was its attribute. The Greek Empire was seen as a leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads. That was its specific attribute. Now, this beast was unique or different, or as the scripture says, diverse, because it took elements from all of these beasts. It was a combination of all of these empires. It says that it had what? Reading again in verse number 2, it says it was like a leopard. It had attributes of the leopard, which is the Greek Empire. And its feet were as the feet of a bear, meaning what? It took attributes from the Medo-Persian Empire. And its mouth as the mouth of a lion. It had attributes from where? The Babylonian Empire. Then it says that the dragon gave him its power. Now we know the dragon, according to Revelation 12 and 9, is none other than Satan. It reads on and it says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. Now we're not going to go necessarily into that, but again, we're just identifying this empire. So now we're going to jump to Revelation chapter 17. And we're going to see if these elements, okay, are the same. Well, we're going to see if there's any similar elements from what we read in Daniel concerning the 4th beast, what we read in Revelation 13 concerning the 4th beast, and what we're about to read in Revelation 17 concerning the 4th beast. So verse number 1 says, Revelation 17 and 1, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Now the waters, when you jump down to about maybe verse 15, it tells you that the waters represents nations, kindreds, and tongues. Right? So this woman sits upon, even though it's physically located in the land of Rome, right? It sits upon many different nations, or has rulership over many different nations, authority over many different nations. So that's what it means when it says it sits upon many waters. Now I'm going to get down to the point for the sake of time, to verse number 5, where it says, and upon her head was a name written. In fact, let me go here. This is a key point, verse number 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, similar to what we read in Revelation 13, having 7 heads and 10 horns. 7 heads. We're going to get to that, the nationality of Sarah and Rebecca. We'll get to that in a moment. Having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right. So which of the 4 beasts was prophesied symbolically as possessing 7 heads and 10 horns? Well, according to Daniel 7, it was the 4th beast. According to Revelation 13, also identified as the last of the beast. It was a combination of all the beasts that came before it. And here we're reading about the same exact beast, or the same exact kingdom. That kingdom being what? The Roman Empire. So now, let's jump down to your question. Your question was what was it? Neom or Noam? Was that particular city, did that city represent Mystery Babylon, according to the Bible? Jumping down to verse 5. And upon her head, or upon her forehead, was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. I'm sorry about that. This keeps jumping. All right. Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. It goes on to say, verse number 6, more attributes of this woman. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua, or who the world calls Jesus. Now, which empire was responsible for and is historically known for martyring and persecuting the disciples and the apostles of Christ. That is none other than the Roman Empire. Okay? So that's who this is referring to. All right? So, hopefully that answers your question. Now, I'll say this. Can that particular city symbolically have elements or have symbolisms within that city which are a reference to Mystery Babylon? Absolutely. Okay? I wouldn't put it past when they construct the city or build the city that it's going to have some allusions to what? Mystery Babylon. Okay? The nations do that all the time. Here in America, they have allusions, even though this is not ancient Egypt, this is styled as a modern Egypt due to their reverence for ancient Egypt. And they have so much reverence for ancient Egypt that they have monuments, they have, belief systems, they have rituals, you name it, they have those things which are an allusion to ancient Egypt. When you look on the dollar bill, what do they have? A pyramid, which is what? An allusion to ancient Egypt, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if when they build that city, they may have elements in there which are pretty much an ode or giving some level of reverence to Mystery Babylon. I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't be surprised. But is it the Mystery Babylon of the scriptures? And the answer is no. Okay? All right. Someone said Jesus Thoth, Sun Runner, Sun Goddess. All of that stuff is, I don't know. You need to be updated. All that stuff is played out. The idea that Jesus is Thoth and the sun god and all that stuff is played out. You need to update your information, okay? All right, moving on. All right, someone asked, what is the ethnicity? Where did Abraham or where did Sarah and Rebecca come from? Okay. Someone says they have relics from ancient Egypt, such as Ankh, sarcophagus, etc. Are you talking about the city in Saudi Arabia, or are you talking about America? Is that in reference to Saudi Arabia, or is that in reference to America? The USA, yes, exactly. Here in the USA, they have many monuments, which are and many relics, many artifacts, which come from ancient Egypt. Okay? So, yes, do cities decide to give some reverence to some of the ancient kingdoms that they worship and reverence for whatever reason? Absolutely. Okay. Someone says is in reference to America. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next one. All right. Let's go on to the origin of Sarah and Rebecca. All right. Let's go back a few chapters to the book of Genesis, Genesis 11. Okay. Genesis 11 and 27. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. Okay, so this is where they descended from. They descended from the land of Ur in Mesopotamia. Abraham and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife, Lawya, the name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, the father of Iscah. But Sarah was barren and had no child. Okay? So this is the lineage of Sarai. Okay? Sarai was the daughter of Haran. Okay? Also the son of Terah. All right, now where did they descend from? Well, when you go up here, they were descendants, obviously, of Shem. We know that Shem had many sons. Now, the child they descended from Shem, is Arphaxad. Okay? Arphaxad, which is the father of the Chaldeans. Okay? Arphaxad. Okay, that's where they descend from. From Arphaxad going all the way down to Eber, from Eber to Peleg, and eventually it reaches down to Terah. Okay, so that's where Sarah came from. Rebecca, they come from the same lineage. They all came from their families were still very close at this time. They were not too far removed from their lineage. Okay, same thing goes for Rebecca. If we pull up Rebecca, all right, Genesis 25. Genesis 25 and 19, it says, "These are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram." Okay, so again, these were people from Mesopotamia. Okay, Bethuel the Syrian from Padan Aram. So that's the lineage of Rebecca. Okay, these are all Shemites. All right, so that's the lineage. These are the lineages they came from. Again, these were very close. These families. Someone says the sound went out. Let me do a quick check. All right, the sound looked like it's still going. Okay, so you may have to make some adjustments on your end. All right, so that's where that's where Sarah and Rebecca come from. Right? With that, I thank you all for your participation here on YouTube. At this time, we must make our way over to Patreon. So, for those who have questions from the Hebrew and Bible Academy, come meet us on Patreon. Also, the blog talk will be up and running. I'm going to try to get the blog talk going, but if not, then I'll just have to answer through Patreon. Okay? I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to run both at the same exact time. So I'll try my best. If not, we'll just answer questions through Patreon. But with that, I want to say bless you and shalom. I'll be back in a few moments on Patreon. For the rest of you, I want to say thank you all for your continual support. And if it be the Most High's will, we'll be seeing you all tomorrow for the Sabbath. For those who are in the academy, we'll also be seeing you all this coming Sunday, which again, the lesson will be Who is Edom? For those who are interested in the academy, go to historytimes.org, where you'll have all the information you need in order to enroll. With that, I want to say blessings and shalom. And again, I'll be on Patreon in a few moments. Shalom.
The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.